You see, Bhog is not something that is possible for us. So Bhog without yoga is a contradiction. Have you ever seen a man shivering, trembling in fear? Is he able to eat? Where is Bhog then? Where there is no yoga, there is fear. And where there is fear, how will you even partake in the simple delights of the world? Bhog won't happen. Even to experience the world, that's what I call as Bhog, an experience of the world. Even to really and truly experience the world, you need to have a solid core, a unified core. That is what is called yoga, a unified core, a heart that is not shattered, a mind that is not divided and split and fragmented. Otherwise, how will you experience the world? You look at the people around. Do you really feel that they are able to experience anything? Have people really experienced the delights that existence has to offer? Do we even experience happiness deeply? Do we even experience sadness deeply? Have you seen how many barriers we raise against sadness? The moment somebody is all in tears, his relatives pounce upon him. Why are you weeping so much? The sweetheart has died. The man can't even weep. You are allowed to weep till a point. And then sadness is not permissible. Where is the question of Bhog? The elements of Bhog that are classically talked of, food, sex, pleasures in things, pleasures in places, do they happen with us? You are so afraid that you can't leave your job. How will you go and visit the world? Is Bhog happening? Look at the common, normal, professional. He gets 10 days of leaves a year. All right, 25. 15 are consumed by sickness and chikungunya and such things. So de facto he is left with 10 days. How much can he consume in these 10 days? Go to the West. There, because of many kinds of securities available, fear is a little less. Social security is there and financial security is a little better than what we have here. So they are able to quit jobs and they are able to wander around. Now there is some Bhog. Now there is a little Bhog. But the man who is clinging to his job as he is clinging to dear life, because he is shivering, what will happen to my future if I lose my job? How will he? Without yoga, no Bhog ever happens. It is a great misperception and an overestimation and an unnecessary self-gratification to tell ourselves that even without being yogast, we are experiencing, we are consuming the world. No, we are not. What do we know of the world? We are born on this earth. What do we know of this earth? The word Bhog comes very commonly in the environment of sexual gratification. Does that happen? Look at the lives of people around you. Are they really find any gratification in sex? The entire day you are spending in stress, all kinds of rubbish, tension, pushing others, getting pulled, getting split. What kind of sexual activity is then possible? Sex is for the free-minded. What Bhog is possible? Very soon, before you reach the age of 35, one's fears, one's desires, one's greed make one bald. And one develops a tummy this big. And there are 3 kids. Where is the question of some bhog now? Is that not the reality of every household? Bhog, sambhog, all gone. Without yog, no bhog. Simple. A Krishna really enjoys the world. We don't. Krishna is Yogi Raj. The Shiva really enjoys the world. Shakti is the world. Because Shiva is the Adi Yogi. We don't enjoy the world. We lead very barren lives. Roti, sabzi, dal, chawal. Full stop. Where is bhog? Forget about international cuisine. Do we even try out the various kinds of foods available around us in this country? We are prejudiced. And where there is prejudice, where is the question of bhog? If you are happy beyond a point, you are cautioned, even admonished. You are just being too happy. Very soon, you will meet your fall. As they say, nazar lag jayegi. You can't even be fully happy. You can't be too sad. You can't be too happy. Where is the question of bhog? You can't sit still. You sit still, somebody would come and say, why are you turning into a stone? You dance too much, people will come and restrict you. What are you doing? This is not the way of decency. Sushila ji just called up. You too must be Sushila. You know what is Sushila?
She. Good she. I don't know in office what we eat. What we're eating is, we know that it will satisfy hunger. But we really don't know that the roti that we're eating is so good, we don't even realize.
Where is bhog? Every breath is a reminder of joy, but only when you are available to that experience, not when your mind is absorbed in trivia and 10 types of occupations. You talked of roti. You know, every morsel is a reminder of the delight that life is, but only when you are available to really experience that morsel. We don't eat, we stuff ourselves. Where is bhog? The funny part is, there is no bhog, yet we so feel guilty about excessive bhog. Externally, we keep consuming, and we have consumed so much that the earth is threatened now. And the desire for consumption keeps on increasing. But really, gratification is not happening. Consumption is there. A lot of food can be consumed. Yet there is no gratification. True gratification comes with an inner fullness, with gratitude. Without gratitude, there is no real gratification. And that is why consumption keeps increasing. In search of gratification, consumption keeps increasing. You keep consuming more and more in the hope that quantity will lead to quality. You keep increasing the kilos, the inches, the quantity, the numbers, in the hope that numbers will lead to something that is not numerable, that is not measurable in numbers. It doesn't matter how much you run along the dimension of numbers, that will not take you into the dimension of the innumerable, immeasurable. Why is the man buying one car after the other? Have you ever asked him? So that he can get some gratification that he doesn't get. One car. Why is the man offering much more than he can eat? He has called the waiter and he said, oh, this. And even the waiter is wondering, sir, how many more are to come? You said a table for 2 and you ordered food enough for 8 people. But the fellow just, maybe something would give me that little touch, that little, heavenly delight. Let me try much more than I can really have. Maybe something will suffice. Maybe something will click. Nothing clicks. One keeps trying. If bhog means just gross consumption, then yes, bhog is happening. But if bhog means really being delighted, then there is no bhog. It doesn't matter how many thousands and lakhs and crores you have spent. Have you really ever been delighted? Remember that delight is not reversible. One moment's delight is a permanent upliftment. You cannot say I was delighted once and then I returned to my base state. That is not possible. The poet said, a thing of beauty is joy forever. It has a certain timelessness, forever. Has anything lasted forever for you? Any delight? You had a great evening. Did it last? You had a great honeymoon. Did it last? Great vodka. Did it last? You are left with the hangover. And probably the pills. Nothing lasts. You see our peculiar situation? We are people who just cannot consume, and yet we are destroying this planet with excessive consumption. Like a man whose intestines are now all rotten, perforated. Intestines having holes. So he cannot absorb anything. But he keeps eating a lot in the hope that if he'll eat a lot, maybe something will be absorbed. How can anything be absorbed when your entire canal from here till there is perforated? Nothing is absorbed, but you keep putting in a lot. That's man's condition. Very peculiar. It requires, you know of that, right? It's all in the news. It requires many earths to provide for our levels of consumption. This little planet won't suffice. These excesses have a spiritual base to them. Because the lives of mankind are devoid of spirituality, that is why man is eating away this planet. And hence, only true and innocent spirituality is the solution. You can keep trying fancy treaties, Paris agreements and such things. They are not going to work. You won't be able to control the temperature rise. It is already being said that a 2-degree rise is too much to ask. Probably we are looking at a 3.2 degrees centigrade rise in temperature by the end of this century. And what's responsible for that? Man's unmitigated greed. You keep on. Everybody wants to have more cars and more. Bigger malls. When you are inside a mall, a shopping mall that is, have you ever wondered about its carbon footprint? Have you ever thought what's the ecological cost of the entire air conditioning? But you are consuming, or so you think. You think that you are consuming because you spend a lot there, because you come back with fancy packets in hand and a tummy full of the flesh of lots of innocent animals. So you think that you have consumed. We don't consume, we think that we have consumed. Consumption hasn't happened. The Ishavasya Upanishad says something very beautiful in this regard. Says, consume with dispassion. It instructs you to consume. That's the opening verse. Tyakten, with tyag, consume. You don't need it really. You are fulfilled. You don't have expectations of spiritual fulfillment. You don't have a void within. And now you have a relationship with the food. You're okay. You're not afraid. You're not desirous really. Now you have a relationship with food. That's quite strange. When you consume because of desire, it's desire that consumes you. You haven't consumed anything. And when you consume without desire, then you really consume. You'll get up and ask, but why will we consume if we don't have desire? Because all our consumption is born out of that's what the Upanishads and the Buddhas have taught. to consume without desire. Yes, that is possible. The desire that they are talking of is the inner faithlessness. Most of our desires proceed from there. Proceed to consume without faithlessness. Don't consume as if consumption will give you joy. If your life is godless, don't think that consumption will give you God. But that's how we consume. When the next car or the next woman arrives in our life, we feel as if God has arrived. Because our lives are ungodly, so we are looking for God in iron and flesh. Have a godly life, and then, if life so plays it out, have a car as well. Have God, then have car. It would be God's car. Have God, then have a man or woman in life. It would be a godly relationship. But if you have a car as a substitute for God, as a replacement for God, as a proxy for God, then the car would disappoint you. And the woman would irritate you, as they do. You are asking too much from her. And the woman too is asking too much from the man. You want from the woman what only God can give you. And the woman wants from the man what only God can give. Total contentment is what you want. And the man and the woman are going to fail. And then you are annoyed. And then you say, it was a bogus decision. It was just the heat of the moment. And now I'm paying for it. How much do you want to pay? You are already a pauper.